What's up everybody, Maik here with another revolutionary episode of Bodybuilding for the Thinking Man. Today I titled, You Should Ask Why. So for the longest time, myself included, we were told, bro, to get big you gotta lift heavy. Squats, deadlifts, bench, you gotta lift heavy. You know what? That's a lot of crap. You know why? Because first of all, strength does not equal mass necessarily. There are some very strong people that don't have a lot of mass, and vice versa. Then, the majority of people, myself included, do not have the joints nor the muscle fiber to grow of 5 reps or less. Lastly, lifting heavy makes people slaves to numbers. So they get too concerned about what do I bench, am I improving, and so on and so forth. And yes, you should get better, but remember, you're a bodybuilder, not a weightlifter. So let's look at the exercises. So first there's the deadlift, right? So people say you gotta get a big deadlift. So you go into any gym and you see people doing the candy cane and this, that, the other. Okay? Well, for bodybuilding, that's useless, completely. So there's several choices. You wanna work your glutes, then you push the heels in and you drive the glutes back. Come till here, no lockout. If you want to work the lower back, be going down a tiny bit straighter till about here, and also no lockout. The problem is that the deadlift by itself doesn't lend itself to a very high rep range, so that makes it tricky for bodybuilding. However, it can be used as an activation exercise. For instance, if you're about to train back, you can do what I call flex deadlifts. You go down till here, and you push the dumbbells by the side. So basically squeezing your lats in sort of a standing relaxed pose, what a bodybuilder would do. But then of course, if you're in the business of building your glutes via deadlift, do not forget the evil stepping back lunge. Last time we talked about if the upper body stays upright, you'll be doing more quad work. If you're falling forward, you're more glute work. So you have to supplement to work the strength curve. Then there's the squat, which actually works quite well. The problem is most people are bad at it. So they're too stiff, the heels come off, falling forward. So now these people are being told, you gotta squat, bro, you gotta do it. Well, they can't, okay? So they'd be better off in the leg press or maybe a cable squat. But let's assume you're one of the guys that can. So you could play around with wide stance for a little bit of inner thigh work and glutes, no lockout, drain the heels in, or it could be a closer stance where we're working more on the outer quads, stabilizing the core. So that would work. However, to work the strength curve, you would need a leg extension to squeeze out and the all-time dreaded sissy squat, which isn't really a sissy exercise, to make the squat work for you. Then, one exercise people always harp upon is the pull-up. So the pull-up has great real-life applications. I mean, my daughter and I, we go rock climbing, and for that, it's awesome. But for bodybuilding, you want to train your lats, right? So you go here, and you pull yourself up, and I mean, aside from the fact that most people can't really do it, you can't do this, okay? And this is what creates tension in the lats. So again, you'd be better off, using a pull down that's something like this. And then of course there's the question of the entire strength curve. So you would need a pullover, measure on a bench, needs to say, stretch your lats with the barbell, lengthen the lats. And then there's the the contracted period, which would be something like this. So all these exercises by themselves are just mid-range, which is simply not enough. Case in point, the bench. Somebody comes and says, I want a bigger bench. You say, well, why? Do you want to have bigger pecs? or a bigger number. Those are two different things, right? So if the answer is I want bigger pecs, then the bench really doesn't cut it. The reason is that you're pushing up, right, using your tris and your delts. You're not really doing a whole lot with your pecs because they do this. So training the pecs with the bench only gives this quasi-motor figure which makes you prone to injury. So if you do the bench, you must have an inward intention, no lockout. But you also should supplement with the other phases. So one would obviously be decontracted. You can even double up. And you could do the stretch if you are going on here and you're doing a proper dumbbell fly, which resembles sort of a Y, just about here, getting a good stretch, and then you'll be covered. By the same token, if somebody says, oh, I want the bench for triceps, again, it's not the greatest setup. So that person, I personally would recommend to do the California bench. You get a deep stretch in, something like this. And then if you're working on a contracted phase, it would obviously be beneficial to do something here where you can really bring the arm behind the body. And of course, all of this depends on your setup. So I have long arms. Like for me, the bench is not a good idea. If you have short arms and a big rib cage, go for it, right? By the same token, my brother is 6'8". Squatting just isn't in the books. So always ask, what do I want to do and how does this work? Lastly, the overhead press. So people get really focused on somehow getting the weight overhead, okay? Again, this does nothing. Inward intention and drive the bar till about here and come down slowly. Inward intention and slowly. But that being said, you will still need to work on the stretched and contracted position. So that could be done with a side raise, which works more on the stretched, and then leveled off here, or with the horrible, evil Superman press. So, I'm not ditching the bench, the squat, the deadlift. I'm just questioning their validity for bodybuilding. So you're not a weightlifter. You want to grow muscle. You want to grow muscle, you have to think, does this work for me? Do I actually feel anything? Or am I just moving weight? And if the answer is I'm just moving weight, can it? Not going to do anything for you, okay? Maik out.